Okay, we are going to do some very, very quick updates today. First and foremost, homie, kill the air conditioner. I can't think with the AC on. First and foremost, I just got done reading the best book in the country now, the New York Times #1 bestseller, Off Balance by Donnie Mociano. Now, me reading that book, you're like, am I on the right channel? Yeah, you are. Mociano was the youngest summer Olympian the U.S. ever fielded in 1996. She was 14. The age has, in fact, the very next Olympiad, the age was raised to 16, so she would be ineligible today. She was part of the Magnificent Seven, which was the women's gymnastics team that won the gold medal. They beat out Russia and Romania to win the gold medal in the all-around, which means they have to do all the events as a team. That was the symbolic end of the Cold War. The Cold War had ended about 7 years earlier, but the Soviet Union had pretty much won all gold medals in gymnastics, or if not the Soviet Union, one of the fraternal comrade countries, or some country having something to do with Eastern Europe. And the American team won by 1 point, within a little more than 1 point, within the 1 point range. And she talks about in the book, the Cold War was still in the air. They were still talking about the which is the better empire, the United States or the Soviet Union, and it was basically the symbolic ending of the Cold War. Now, funniest thing in the world, she had to go up second to last, and they were doing their last event of the evening, the vault. You do 2 vaults, the best one counts. She talks about this in the book. I've known her for years, but she talks about it in the book. She did her first vault, she landed on her ass. She did her second vault, she landed on her ass. National disgrace. Worst vault of the career, absolute heartache, the world is coming to an end. Her teammate, Kerri Strug, went right up after her. You know Kerri Strug. Kerri Strug ended up with the Bush administration a few years later. Yeah. Kerri Strug does the vault, lands on her ass, hurts her ankle. Now Kerri has to get up, do a second vault with a hurt ankle. She can't tag a teammate, she's got to do it herself. She does her second vault, lands on both feet, breaks the ankle like no tomorrow, lifts the foot up, does that little salute. US wins the gold, everybody goes crazy. Here's what really happened. Even though Mociano fell on her ass twice and got a 9.2, which in her world is that's it. That's national disgrace. The sick joke is that 9.2 was enough to push the U.S. team into the gold medal. And it was later revealed that even if Kerri Strug didn't vault at all, they still would have won the gold medal. And her and Strug say it all the time. They talk about the truth, yet you see the Visa commercial, you see greatest Olympic moments. When the legend becomes fact, print the legend. But it was very, very good because Mociano was a Romanian American. Her parents literally had her shortly after coming off the boat. They came over here, they had her a few months later. First generation America. Parents came from a communist country. The Soviet Union treated Jews very bad. Kerri Strug is a Russian Jew. So the greatest gymnastics team ever assembled beat the Soviet Union, the former Soviet Union. Symbolic ending of the Cold War. One of the greatest moments in Olympic history. Moceanu had to compete with a stress fracture in her right leg tibia, and it was like competing on one leg. Now, a stress fracture in your dominant leg can literally bring a grown man to his knees. And yet this 4'4", 70-pound, 14-year-old girl is literally on one of the greatest Olympic teams ever assembled in all of American history. Like with the Miracle on Ice hockey team, okay? Of all the Olympic teams ever assembled in all sports in Olympic history, she was able to hold her own. 2 years later, she went solo into a competition. Romanians were literally expected to step over her on their way to the podium. She literally had a flu the night before. She came out with the flu the night before. Absolute, you know what the flu is like. Cough and sneeze and all other garbage. She literally stayed up all night with the flu, didn't get a wink of sleep all night. She got dressed, won the competition with the flu, and to this day is the only American woman to win that competition. So the moral of her story is, if you hire some goon to injure her the night before the competition, go right on ahead because she'll still win. Now, this book chronicles her personal struggle and her professional struggle. It is a very difficult book to read because I absolutely adore her. I loved her when I was a little kid. She's 5 months older than I am. I was seeing this girl my age competing in the Olympics, getting gold medals, representing our country, taking on the former Soviet Union. And now, after reading this book, I always had respect for her, but I have such deep respect for her now. I have more respect for her now than I ever did, which is saying a lot unto itself. This book is very difficult to read because she talks about a lot of problems that she had over the years, personal family problems, professional problems. People treated her like dirt. There were a lot of incidents in this book where I literally cursed out loud or I got angry because I didn't like the way she was being treated. She was treated like garbage. The saving grace of the book is there were people around her, her masseuse, her boyfriend who becomes her husband in the book, a couple of other coaches, and they treat her like you're supposed to treat a child, like you're supposed to treat a young woman. They gave her the dignity she needed, and that was my saving grace because I would have just thrown the book up against the wall had it not been for people coming in and taking a stand for her, standing by her. You read the book, you just want to give her a hug because she went through so much. Even by our generation's standard. Our generation had a lot of great talent, you know, Heath Ledger, Amy Winehouse, Brad Renfro. I could go on forever. Some people of our generation were absolutely destroyed. Whether it was someone else's fault or their fault, they were destroyed. A lot of our celebrities from our generation are dead today for stupid reasons, die young, etc., etc. We have a celebrity from our generation who's literally on death row. For double homicide. She went through stuff that is, even by our generation standard, excessive. And she rose above it. Today she's married. Her husband is a collegiate gymnast. Now he's a foot and ankle surgeon. He is absolutely wonderful for her. She is madly, madly in love with him. She has 2 beautiful children. Her son is actually named Vincent. My birthday is March 10th. His birthday is March 13th. His name is Vincent. It's a coincidence. Nothing to do with me at all. Ironically, I have a nephew named Michael Vincent, and her son is named Vincent Michael. But she has 2 children today. She is a coach. She's passing the torch to the next generation. She treats her girls with the same respect that she should have been treated with years ago. And she would be the first person to physically confront you if you mistreated her girls in any way, her athletes in any way. She would be the first person to take a step up to you. In this book, she talks about it like it is. She gives great credit to her friends and relatives, people that cared for her. She is more than willing to call out the people that treat her like dirt. So she takes a stand for what she believes in. And I respect her for that. She made a lot of enemies doing that. She's lost a lot of respect of other people doing that. But you're going to take a stand for what you believe in. You're going to do what you think is right. Winston Churchill once said, you have enemies? Good. That means you've stood up for something sometime in your life. She also talks about her reconnecting with a long-lost sister. She had no idea her mother was pregnant. A day after her 6th birthday, her mother gives birth to a baby. Baby's put up for adoption. She reconnects with the baby years later. The baby is born with no legs. She has a sister born with no legs who is today a professional acrobat. And reading about her sister in this book, I had a friend of mine who was born, he's a half a year older than me. My mother remembers this, but I don't. He was born with his legs twisted over every which way you could possibly imagine. His legs were amputated when he was 5 years old. I don't know if it was his family decision or his doctor's decision. I never had the nerve to ask the family, and the doctor legally can't answer me. So he had his legs chopped off. He taught himself how to stand up. He ended up becoming a town clerk in his hometown of Harrison. He died last year of kidney failure, but had he lived, he would have been mayor this year. And he was the greatest governor New York never had. And he was the only honest politician I ever knew. In fact, retired governor of New York, I'm going to put his name on the link. Forget his name, I'll put his name on the link. Retired governor of New York died a day after him. And more people came to his funeral than the retired governors. And Mosciano's sister reminds me 100% of my friend. The attitude, you know, I love to have a scientist look at their DNA. Because their attitude is through the roof. The both of them. And they have another sister too, Christina. They don't let anything stand in their way. They don't let anyone stand in their way. How many people do you know that have no legs and are professional acrobats? How many people do you know had a stress fracture in their right leg and won an Olympic gold medal? Now also, she has her own Facebook fan page. You have the personal page, which is for you, and you have the fan page for your fans. She interacts on her own fan page. The answer to your first question is yes, I have talked to her. Matter of fact, she just got done answering a question of mine. She thinks the U.S. team this year can win the gold medal again. I said, who's the rivalry? She said, Romania and Russia. Basically a rematch of '96. There is not a single fan she will not give an autograph to. There is not a single person she will not answer politely and truthfully. She is a remarkably, I've never met her in real life though, I've only talked to her online on her Facebook fan page. She is the most polite celebrity you can think of. I wouldn't shove a camera in her face. I wouldn't sit outside her house waiting for her to come out and ambush her. But if you approach her politely and respectfully, she will be more than happy to talk to you, answer questions. Her fans see her in person, they take pictures with her, they go on her fan page, upload the picture to her fan page, she likes the pictures. Just an absolute extraordinary woman who I have such respect for. Also, she is a she hates communism fanatically. Okay? She hates communism more than I do. So, she's just a remarkable person. If you have a daughter who wants to be a professional gymnast, any girl you know that wants to be a professional gymnast has to read the book. No question. Other children that are athletes in their own right in other sports should also read it. If you want to coach professional athletes, whether you're coaching Little League, whether you're coaching gymnastics, whether you're coaching hockey, whether you're coaching ping pong, if you are coaching children, you have to read the book. She tells you how the bad coaches treated her. She tells you how the good coaches treated her. And she knows how to treat athletes with respect. She knows how to take care of people physically and emotionally. Okay, I want to check the battery power on this. Okay, we're going to do some updates. I saw a video, I'm going to post it down in the link, of the people of Chicago, their response to the Chicago McDonald v. Chicago handgun law. They say in the video, there was a law written in Illinois in 1837. It declares that most politicians in Illinois are peace officers, agents of the law, and they can carry concealed firearms in Illinois, which is no issue. That means, in theory, during the Chicago handgun ban, and there were several other cities that had handgun bans, a mayor could legally walk down the street with a concealed handgun with an 11-round magazine and be totally legal in Illinois. Also, speaking of Fast and Furious, the Justice Department is not going to press charges against Eric Holder. For some reason, perjury, obstructing justice, and arms trafficking are now legal. Now, the attorney was given the complaint by the Congress, criminal complaint. And the criminal complaint basically said, listen, he didn't do anything wrong. Now, the attorney responsible for overseeing this was appointed by he who must not be named, and that attorney is also an employee of Eric Holder. The Board of Ed is not going to put the superintendent on trial, my friends. Also, I have a funny feeling that my rant video, where I'm cursing the blue streak, getting red in the face, I think that was seen by Sarah Palin. I posted it on Sarah Palin's Facebook fan page, and I think she saw it. Because remember I say it's a disgrace, they all got up and walked out? I said they act like a bunch of 7th graders. Well, guess what? Sarah Palin came on Fox News several hours after I posted the video on her Facebook page, and she literally said they act like 7th graders. So either Sarah Palin reads my mind or she saw my video. The power of the internet. Also, if I saw a page, if you want me to make me a comment, and I'll try to see if I can copy, paste, and PM you a listing of all the congressmen that voted for Eric Holder and a list of all the congressmen that didn't vote. I don't know if those are congressmen that got up and walked out or congressmen that sat and didn't vote with their hands folded, but if you want to see the congressman that voted against Brian Terry, let me know and I'll see if I can find the page for you. That way you know if you live in their district to vote them out. My congresswoman didn't vote for or against. I don't know if she got walked out though. Also, I will do a case study. I might even do it today if I have time, a couple of hours from now, I gotta see. But I will do it. A case study on Washington, D.C. gun laws. Posting pre-Heller. I now have a little bit of information. I now know what I'm talking about. I have access to the long gun ban in D.C., which I needed for so long. Okay, so you get a chance, read this book. And she doesn't use foul language. In fact, This is the only book I ever read where the author told me to read the book. Hold on a minute. She was in New York City a while ago, going downtown, and she had this phase where she would put up on her Facebook fan page all these great inspirational quotes. When when you're forced to stand alone, you realize what you have in you. Uma Thurman quote. She posted that on her Facebook wall, and I responded, "Can we hear a few of your own quotes?" And she got back to me, "You'll find all my own words in my memoir!" Exclamation point. So she is the only author in world history to write a book and specifically tell me, the person. No one else was on this status update. It was me and her talking. She's the only author in U.S. history to specifically say to me, as a person, read my book. But she's good though. She's good. The book is very, very good. It's very well thought out. A lot of young kids are reading it. No foul language in it, but there are a few uncomfortable scenes because you're like, wait a minute. I don't want my daughter or my girlfriend to be treated like that. But total story of survival. Okay? Seriously, total story of survival. In fact, how about this? Instead of putting the books out here with my family books, James Patterson books, Mob Daughter by Karen Gavano, Life on the Run by Greg and Gina Hill, I put this book in my room and I put it next to my collection of Ronald Reagan books. So what's that tell you about the respect I have for her? I literally took her book and put it next to the unabridged Reagan Diaries. Does that mean I have no respect for her? The greatest honor I can give a person is to take something that belongs to them and put it next to something that belongs to President Reagan. That is the greatest thing I can do for somebody. Put something they wrote and something that Ronald Reagan wrote, put it together. That's the I literally put the book with Ronald Reagan stuff. I'm not even joking. Okay, thank you. Just that quick update. That's all.